Comcast.
Comcast is the worst.
I think we might have missed one fetch here.
Nope.
Did Kyle? No, it's what's the? Oh, it's Brainstorm.
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't think Kyle has. I think his. Oh no, he's a Cabal Therapy for 2 mana.
Sure.
What's he name?
Life from.
Yeah. He could name Explosives. That's a card that would be tempting to me. Or Dark Confidant. I think his only card is it's Explosives and Crucible.
All right, so whiff.
I was wrong. He does not have 2 Dark Depths. Is an Academy Ruins. These altered cards
does look very similar.
So we got Academy Ruins, Wasteland, Dark Depths, Engineered Explosives, and Crucible of Worlds on Andrew's side. He's got an interesting decision next turn of if he wants to Wasteland or not. My guess is yes.
Yeah. When in doubt, just do it.
You gotta. I mean, well, especially with Crucible.
Yeah.
And especially with Sphere out, you don't want him to cast like a Strix this turn.
Sphere is all spells cost 1 more?
Everything costs 1 more.
Okay. So he is kind of far away from casting Crucible.
Yep.
For what it's worth.
Ah, yes, the colorless land in the 4-color deck. I never get tired of the one of Volrath's Stronghold.
Well, that pays for the Sphere of Resistance tax.
Hey-o. That's value right there.
It's basically counter spell.
Kyle might have to Surgical this Wasteland.
He might do it once he sees.
Once the Crucible's
well, I guess he
knows the Crucible's
seen
there.
Crucible, yeah.
Yeah. He's got Tropical. He has a bunch of lands though, but I mean, it's getting Wastelanded every turn is still kind of a nightmare. He's got Surgical. He's got. Yeah, he's just gonna go right after it, paying 2 life. Could have paid 1 life if he was feeling saucy.
Yeah.
Sees that Andrew is drawn Teleria West for turn. Let's see if we get a look at Andrew's deck here. See a Tabernacle, of course. A bunch of Bobs. And the usual suspects. Ooh, Smokestack.
Yeah.
That is rude.
Yeah, there's some hateful stuff here.
I think there were a lot of Spheres.
I guess that is his best combo interaction, aside from Crows and Crypt.
Ooh, Kyle punished for not doing it in the draw step. There was one on top. I'm always a big fan of the draw step Surgical.
Yeah.
At least against decks where it can't punish you. I mean,
Right.
I don't think Andrew has any instance that would really get you for that.
I can't think of any.
Oh, your flight got canceled, Cook? That stinks. Lose
Yeah.
power. That also seems bad.
There's supposed to be a blizzard on the East Coast this weekend.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it's supposed to be... I did hear about this.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be real bad.
Yeah, I had to send out some emails for an event that was going to be canceled in Washington, D.C.
Oh, dear.
Yeah.
Was it for your job?
It was for my job.
That's great.
Yeah.
Greg is an event coordinator.
No, I'm not.
No, you're not. Anyways, Surgical resolving here on Kyle's main phase. I'm going to ship it back to Andrew for his turn. After a bit of shuffling. Wouldn't be Legacy without shuffling.
Yes.
Oh, you're supposed to be judging. Oh, that stinks.
For the standard tournament. That we will be going head-to-head with
Ooh.
in the Twitch Magic the Gathering channel.
Andrew with an incredibly good draw.
3-mana Bob.
Perfect. It's amazing. Kyle needs to draw 3 mana Abrupticate to kill it. Instead, he just has 3 mana Reclamation Sage. Nope, 4 mana.
Or 2 mana Brainstorm.
Honestly, 2 mana Brainstorm might be coming in here. Or 3 mana Baleful Strix.
Well, it doesn't look like it's... Yeah, it looks like it might be Strix. Because it doesn't look like it's going to be Brainstorm.
No, I don't think he's going to cast Brain. I mean, he cracked his fetch first, so I have to imagine.
Yeah.
I mean, unless he's really excited. have to think that it's Strix here.
Do you think he's debating whether or not to get a basic?
I think he's
Or which splash color?
I think he's definitely deciding what land to get.
I think it has to be black mana, right?
Oh, yeah. And in that case, it's this or Bayou.
Right. I think Bayou seems good. He already has basic island, and he needs double green to combo.
Bayou... I don't know how much it matters.
It might not. He's going to need another land.
I'm trying to think of situations where he has to cast 2 spells in one turn, and because he has like things like casting Baleful Strix and Abrupt Decay in the same turn.
Okay.
But I mean, first things first, that Sphere's got to get out of here.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
it'll be sometime. He also doesn't even have the Alluren yet.
Right.
At least not as far as I can tell.
I haven't
Either way,
seen
it's
it.
5 whole manas. Kyle drawing off the Baleful Strix. Finds a polluted delta. Got quite a few lands here, so I think next turn he's going to brainstorm.
Yeah, I mean, this all lets him play through the sphere. Lands are kind of fine here for Kyle.
What about a second sphere?
It kind of seems pretty likely that that's going to see play this turn.
Do you attack if you're Andrew? You can't attack here.
I do not think... Well...
aggressive.
Yeah.
It's pretty aggressive. Ooh, port.
I mean, if you're not blocking, you have to attack, right?
That's what they say. That is what they say. So Andrew electing not to play Sphere this turn, instead going for Crucible. That means next turn you get Sphere plus Port, which is pretty close to a hard lock. Now it's up to Kyle how he wants to navigate through this. These are a lot of annoying effects to fight through.
Yeah.
Looks like he just drew Swamp for the turn. So he definitely has 2 lands he wants to put back if he casts Brainstorm this turn. I think that's what we're going to see. The problem here is if he has a Disenchant effect and he doesn't cast it this turn, then it's possible he's just locked out the rest of the game.
Yeah, he just completely falls out of range of ever getting to cast it.
Unless he finds an instant. Something like Abrupt Decay. Oh, how about 2 Imperial Recruiters? And a Verdant Catacombs?
Yeah.
Oh, that Volvest Stranghold's got to be going back.
Do you think that there is a Volcanic Island in this deck?
No.
So the only red land is Taiga? Like, I can't imagine there's a Badlands.
No, I think it's just Taiga.
Okay.
Taiga
and play it off of Alluren.
And Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah.
Which is, probably enough.
Probably the best card in the deck.
Well, by far. No. Yeah, it's a close competition.
The most essential in this specific deck might be...
Deathrite is a ridiculous card.
It's great.
Therapy your Sphere or your Explosives?
Does he know about...
He knows about both.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, this is a nice play from Kyle.
Yeah.
Taking advantage of the extra information from the Dark Confidant.
Yeah, it just keeps him not completely locked out.
Yes.
Smokestack would be annoying.
Oh my god, would it be?
Yes.
Right now just checking mana.
Yeah, I think they're checking that everything was cast for the correct amounts. I think it was.
We've not seen Kyle cast anything for
less than the
a reasonable mana cost.
Right.
Maze of It getting revealed here. Not an exciting reveal. Actually surprised that there is even any in his deck. Ooh, there is another Bob, though.
He might just have, 1 post board or something.
Yeah, it can't be, 3.
Yeah.
The Alluren deck really doesn't attack with, one... doesn't really chip you out in this matchup. I think all they want to do is resolve Alluren.
Yeah, they want a combo.
We'll see what Andrew has. His options are basically Bob and Explosives. Does get that free land off Crucible. That's a nice one.
It is.
You need the value, man.
Yeah. I mean, we saw Kyle get all that value at the end of last game before,
yeah.
Just winning.
I mean, yeah, that was...
Storming off.
Effectively storming. So we see Andrew fetching a tropical island here. Let's see what he decides to cast. Not sure what he's thinking about at the moment. He's paused while shuffling his deck.
There are a lot of different cards in this deck.
Is he deciding to get a different land?
Maybe he's just trying to figure out what's going on this turn. Is that Ghost Quarter he was pawing to the front?
That definitely was a Ghost
Or
Quarter.
pausing on, at least? Yeah. Alright. The default... I just get Thespian Stage, because since it can be whatever.
I guess so.
Another Rishan import seems pretty great.
He's transmuting Teleri West for it.
Yeah.
I guess he just wants another port.
I mean, I think that's what it...
Oh, he has depth in his hand. What are we talking about?
Oh, okay. So he will just combo.
Yeah, he's just going to combo, Kyle. Oh, yeah. Get in there. It's already a 1-turn clock with Merit Lage, so...
You just gotta keep him in range.
Yeah, might as well. But yeah, he's got the combo in 2 turns. He does get to port this turn, though, which will make it pretty hard for Kyle to cast anything.
Yes.
All right, Kyle fetching on his end step. Does get another tropical island instead of getting that. Oh, well, actually, it was Polluted Delta, so he can't actually go get
Oh, that's awkward.
Taiga.
Oh, dear.
I'm not sure if he would want to.
Yeah.
It's not a guarantee at all.
Yeah, he needed the second green anyway.
Yeah. The second green, I mean, you just needed to fight through port. I mean, this means that... I'm surprised he got this over Bayou.
Yeah.
This is, I think, a spot where I would get Bayou because you're exposing yourself to getting ported off a color now.
Mm-hmm. By being cut off black completely.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Kyle's going to go for green. Alluren costs green.
Yeah,
right?
he's keeping him off of Alluren.
That makes sense. Oh, yeah. Well, there's a quick fetch.
It is quick. I wonder...
This could be Reclamation Sage this turn that he's been holding for a while.
So Rex Sage on presumably Sphere.
Sphere, yeah. Kyle shrugging. Hey, it's the Taiga. We found it.
Our favorite.
We found our splash.
Yeah.
It took a second, but we got there.
He could have gone by you.
Yes. Thank you. Importantly, Taiga casts Alluren.
It does.
It is both generic mana, not colorless, generic.
Yes.
It's both generic mana and green mana. Specifically green. Either way, not casting it this turn because it costs 5.
Woof.
Let's see if he wants to cast this Rex Sage or not.
I have to imagine that's what this turn is for. Yeah. Okay.
Yep.
And it does cost 4 mana because of Sphere.
Rex Sage, smash your Sphere. Okay, so fun thing. Andrew is one colored land off from casting, one red land off from going explosives before. Ooh, that is a good reveal. I think Kyle brought back in his therapy specifically for that card,
Sure.
which makes a lot of sense.
And here we see the draw step yield Mox Diamond as well. So things really getting sped up here.
Yeah, I mean, unfortunately, it's not actually speeding up his combo because
he just can't play a second land.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, that was a good use for that Mazavith.
Right. That's why he left it in.
Yes.
So it's a blue card to pitch to Force of Will.
Do you just play explosives for 4 here? I think that's what's going to happen.
Why not? What
Well,
else are you doing?
if you
I
do
guess
that-
you have Crows and Grip, so you don't really need to use it.
Yeah. That's a lot of hate for exactly Alluren.
It is, but you could also just like get your explosives for 4 Rex Saged off of a bounced Rex Sage or something.
Like from a Cavern Harpy?
Right. I don't know. I mean,
Yeah, I mean, you could, if Rex Sage is much, I mean, Explosives is far more vulnerable than holding up Crows and Grip.
yeah. Oh, the plus side being you only have to hold up 2 mana instead of 3 all the time, which just seems a little bit minor at this point.
Yeah. But the fact that he has to tap out of Crows and Grip in order to cast it is really just the big deal.
Yeah.
I think I just port if I was him. Although porting again, not super exciting here. You probably just go for the black source or the red source.
Porting is definitely getting worse.
Yeah, Kyle has hit every land drop this game. Kyle has kept up with the lands deck. Yep, and he is going to go for, since he cannot cut off double green, he is going to go for Underground Sea.
Makes sense.
Kyle drawing.
Does he still need the Alluren? I think so, right?
Oh yeah, there's that Volrath stronghold.
Or does he have it? Oh, he has Alluren.
He's got double Strix and Imperial Recruiter.
We know he knows about the Crows and Grip though, which makes it pretty awkward. Like, wasn't Grip was revealed off of Bob?
Yeah, I don't know how. I think he just has to draw
Multiple Allurens.
No, Cabal Therapy.
Oh, good point. All right.
Unfortunately, he had to get rid of. He had to flashback the other one earlier.
To get rid of the second sphere.
Mm-hmm. Recruiter coming in.
Recruiter.
What beats a 3-mana 1/1? Nothing.
It kind of seems like he's. Is he getting Cavern Harpy here, or maybe Dreamstalker?
I think he could go for. I mean, Shardless Agent's an option just because it makes you more likely to dig to Cabal Therapy.
Sure. Okay.
I think that's the best option, especially because you can't. Like, if you get Cavern Harpy, you're probably cutting yourself off of a color.
Yeah.
Or Cavern Harpy, sorry. You're very unlikely to be able to cast it because of the port.
Oh, that's a very good point. Okay.
So I think Shardless Agent's probably his best option.
Yeah, you probably want a non-black card.
This is an expensive way to put a Grey Ogre into play.
This is also, it's going to be awkward because he needs to hit therapy off of Shardless, right?
Brain Maggot would be a nice one, Gibbous. That would be that's the therapy you can tutor for.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm more of a Cabal Interrogator guy, but that has summoning sickness.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, therapy is certainly going to be better, just because it nugs both the explosives and the grip at the moment. Like if Kyle hits hits therapy next turn, he might just win.
What's the original Brain Macket called again? It starts with an M.
Oh, Mesmeric Fiend.
Mesmeric Fiend. That card had great art.
It did. It did.
It does.
Mesmeric Fiend is also technically better
because of
it doesn't get gripped.
Yeah.
But also,
sure.
the text is.
You could sack it with the trigger on the stack.
Yeah, the old interaction.
The old Fiend Hunter wording instead of the new fixed version.
Mm-hmm. All right, we see an End Step Academy runes activation. Unless I'm insane.
Might be stage.
You didn't tap the stage.
Oh. Then I don't know what's happening.
We'll find out. It's okay.
Yeah.
Andrew pondering his fate at the moment before his turn comes up. We'll see what he has going for him. I mean, his two options are to stage something. Oh, is he just gonna? Yeah, he is staging Tropical Island.
Okay. Where is Carpet of Flowers now?
Where is it? Ooh, Loam. Although, really not powerful here. Also kind of funny that both players have just, like, slowly nickeled and dimed one another. That's a nice one. Actually, Loam is... Well, most of it is irrelevant because Andrew's going to be able to go Dark Depths with Grip up.
Yeah. Winning the game seems better than Life from the Loam at this point.
Oh, what makes you say that?
I don't know.
Just convinced?
I just have a feeling.
You have a very closed mind.
I do.
We'll see what he wants to do. And can he also port? No, he can't do everything.
You can't have it all.
No, he's close though.
You can have most things.
He's actually 1 mana off from port plus stage plus hold up Crossing Grip.
Poor dear.
Oh man, Therapy is a delight. Therapy is one of my top 5 cards.
Great art as well.
Oh yeah.
Odyssey block, very solid art.
Very strange art for the most part.
Torment, pretty cool set. Not great for limited.
Not
kind of weird for limited when most of the set is black cards.
I just don't know how that seemed like a good idea. It's just such a strange philosophy.
Very strange draft format.
Yeah, it's gotta be. All right, Port is getting activated, which is giving Kyle, a small window to do something. But he has to do something about this 2020, or he's gonna die.
The impending 2020.
Yeah, that's the one.
The one that's covered in ice.
Ah, old Merit Lage, my good friend. I'm a little surprised he's not going for anything. Let's see what he does. Shard the Staging coming in, Cascade Trigger.
Do you think Merit Lage actually has any friends?
Oh, Abrupt Decay. No, I do not. Merit Lage is extremely lonely.
So Decay probably going after Crucible. Doom is impending though.
Doom via 2020?
Yeah. And Bowman.
No blocks.
No blocks. Not scared.
How do you feel about a 2020, Kyle?
Kyle, 2020.
Stage. Target Dark Depths. I will keep stage. I will get a 2020. Is it the actual token, though? I don't think it is. Yeah, I knew it. It's the Mew.
Ancient Mew is probably the second or third after the Jerry Thompson token.
As we all know from the Pokemon the movie, the original. Very important.
Yeah.
Looks like they're on turn 1.
I don't know if it was the original movie.
It was.
Was it?
Yep.
I thought it was like the second movie.
Nope.
Which one was the one where you got the promo Mewtwo? That was like actually a good constructed card.
I don't know what was good in the constructed format. Let's see if the attack for 20 works here. I'm gonna stop you
from embarrassing myself more.
So one thing that Kyle
there it was.
So one thing that Kyle could have done is he could have played the Alluren.
Yeah.
And immediately played Baleful Strix before priority was given to Andrew.
Okay.
So that way he has a blocker. And if Andrew does decide to grip, then he won't have enough mana to to also make a 20/20.
Okay.
He was
So it buys him effectively.
one turn.
Yeah.
But he has that turn, whereas
Yeah.
and he has a chance to draw another Alluren. And we
Sure.
saw that his top card was Cabal Therapy, which could take care of explosives if he gets the opportunity to.
Mm-hmm.
So perhaps things would have been a bit better then. Looks like Kyle cut a Dreamstalker because playing around removal isn't super relevant. 2 Thought Seizes and 2 Painful Truths. For Skoos, Crows and Grip, Surgical, another Abrupt Decay, and Carpet of Flowers. I think so this is going to sound weird, but I feel like Painful Truths is better than a couple of those cards. Thoughtseize might even be better. Against Andrew's version, things are a little different.
Yeah, that's definitely something to be gained for Bowman. It's just not all of the normal lands interactions are there.
As long as he's not playing.
And there are some unusual permanents he's also adding into the mix.
Yeah. Like if he played Alluren, he gets to just immediately play Baleful Strix off of the Alluren, and again, if Andrew just like doesn't kill it, then he has an opportunity to do something. So that was a round 1.
That was a matchup I have never seen.
You've never seen it? Oops.
Alluren versus lands?
I feel like the only one who's seen it is Kyle.
Probably. And like that guy that top 8'd the GP with Alluren.
Martin Goldman Cursed.
Sure. That person.
Yeah, the Seattle guy. I have not met him. I have just heard the name before. Yes, there is a Minister of Pain.
There is. Minister
Minister of Pain is a true delight for players everywhere who thought they could never beat elves.
Yeah, it's a gentleman's card.
It is. I once watched David Gleischer kill 4 elves with it
That's a lot.
in game 1.
Did he living wish for it?
Nope. Activated Birthing Pod
Ooh,
and sacrificed a Baleful Strix.
So that was a card that he could draw in Legacy and not tutor.
Look, sometimes you draw Minister of Pain against your Storm opponent. It's fine. It's okay. Or like Sneak and Show. Something else equally embarrassing.
It's a 2/2.
If only Miracle's still killed with Decree of Justice.
You can pot it into a 4-drop. It has that redeeming quality.
Yeah, it has the right converted mana cost to eventually be a Glen Elendra Archmage. Yeah, Firestorm's a messed up card, Gibbous. 7? What was my there's only one good story I had with Firestorm, and that was
Good isn't against you.
No, as happened. I think Andrew Shrout did this. He killed his opponent with 0 cards in his library, by firestorming
For
his entire hand away.
Yeah.
On his upkeep.
Does go face as well, right?
He just went. His opponent was at 6, and there were 5 creatures out. So he's just like 6, 6, 6, 6, 6, 6.
Oh my god.
Firestorm can be completely absurd. I've gotten Firestormed maybe once in my life. I did not win.
Yes.
It felt awful. I think I've also gotten. I may have gotten Firestorm while playing a deck that like Firestorm me and you, like as the only choices. You need the targets to discard that many cards.
You do.
You're desperate. When I was building Dredge, I remember.
What was that?
First Legacy deck I built.
Okay. Like a lot of people actually.
Yeah, I mean, well, back when Dredge was like legitimately cheap. Like
when LED was like not very
before
expensive.
Faithless Looting was printed.
Yeah.
Literally, that's when I built it, and then I just about finished.
A small window.
Because Dredge,
Okay.
there were like different versions of Dredge for a while.
Sure.
Like Tireless Tribes showing up there, Phantasmagorian showing up sometimes.
Yeah.
All these medium cards. The deck played like basically instead of maybe in addition to or instead of Putrid Imp. I don't know.
Yeah.
Weird versions of Dredge. And
Tyler's Tribe is a good blocker.
yes, it's really good in Pauper with Inside Out. Anyways, you switch its power and toughness, and you just like discard your hand. And Temur Battle Rage it.
Now Pauper casts.
Yes.
During our break in between rounds.
On Thursday night, Wednesdays. But what happened was I built the deck, and I like almost finished the deck. I was like 5 cards away.
Yeah.
And Dark Ascension came out.
Sure.
And people are like, Get your Lion's Eye Diamonds now. I didn't get my Lion's Eye Diamonds now. I said to myself, if I'm going to get Lion's Eye Diamonds, I'm just going to build Storm. So I built Storm.
How much was LED when you got them?
Probably more expensive than they are. No, probably the same.
Okay, so like 60?
I probably paid like 70 for at least one.
Okay. I have a distinct memory of buying a playset when I was in high school for $3 a pop. I think I sold them for maybe the same.
I was going to say because you sold all your cards when you finished high school, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything but my like uncommons. So when I came back to the game, I had like a huge stack of Aether Vials and Divining Tops.
Well, at least too bad you didn't. Too bad it's not today.
Yeah, they still like. I still traded them for like a standard collection.
Sure,
which is fine.
I thought I struck the gold mine when I found that I had 30 Priest of Titanius. When I
Sure.
came back, they were like $5. Couldn't believe it. That's a common.
Yeah. It pays to forget about cards.
Yeah.
If Magic has taught us anything.
Gibbous, we'll see if we can get the chat to donate you duels. I can't guarantee anything, and I won't. But that would be awesome. If you just woke up one morning and someone's like, hey, let's not say Underground Sea. Falk? I don't know.
Yeah.
They're both really expensive.
I'd recommend borrowing.
Borrowing is great. Then
Possible.
you have none of the responsibility and all of the fun.
Yeah, just don't lose them.
Anyways, Legacy.
So
here's a fun thing. One of the players, one of the local players here, has been working. You might have heard of him. His name is Mark McManus. He is working on putting some of the new Eldrazi from Oath of the Gatewatch into a mud deck.
Yeah, basically, the best analogy I have would be like something similar to what Aggro Shops is in Legacy or in Vintage. Sorry.
Oh my god.
And by adding in the Eldrazi package to the existing 8 soul lands, quote unquote, in mud, you could have, easily 15 soul lands effectively.
Sorry guys, looks like our round started when we weren't paying attention.
All right.
It's hard for us to know. We don't have any indications here.
So it looks like we have Kyle Houtman on the left playing Tezzeret. Presumably Grixis Tezzeret if he has not changed his build from the past couple weeks. And on the right is Nathan Mullen, who...
Nope.
Who is that?
Kevin Kingsley.
Oh, it's Kingsley. Oh, yeah. I guess I should know that based on
No
lack of
hand
hand
tattoos.
tattoos.
Seems like a pretty big giveaway.
Well, they both play Storm.
Well, I'm not going to continue.
Does that help?
No.
No, it doesn't help? Okay. Alright, yeah, Storm versus Tez. I think the fact that we see that Chalice of the Void was nabbed with a discard spell on the first turn, it looked like Probe into Lotus Petal Duress was Kingsley's first turn, taking away Chalice of the Void from Houtman, which is... There's a good chance that is why he kept his opener, knowing that Kingsley is on Storm. He's been on the deck for quite a while. So here, it looks like Houtman really hasn't been able to meaningfully affect the game much yet.
His hand was all lands and a Tezzeret that got therapied, so...
And a Chalice that got duressed.
Kevin just did the Storm thing where you draw 3 cards and they're the 3 cards that kill your opponent.
Sure.
Probably my favorite aspect of the deck. By a wide margin.
Honestly, from watching we have 2 dedicated Storm players locally, not counting you. So it's one of the decks that we probably watch the most. It's actually made me more want to play it, honestly.
It's so much fun.
It looks fun and very powerful.
Oh, it is extremely good. All right, so Kevin resolving Brainstorm right here, and I believe he has the necessary tools to win this turn, given that he can get enough Storm. Storm is 1 currently. Storm is 2, 3 mana floating. Duress.
Make sure the coast is clear.
Also just
Snaring Bridge.
Another Storm. Yeah, Kyle has drawn some embarrassingly bad cards. There's a Cabal Ritual up to 5 mana.
All right.
And we're done. Kyle doesn't need to go. Past in Flames is certainly lethal here.
Yeah, so from that spot, he had enough black mana floating that he could just do the Pass in Flames loop.
Yes.
Or not loop, but cast Pass in Flames and go off.
It's a repetition.
Yeah.
But yeah, so what happens there? So Kevin had 3 plus the 3 from the Lion's Eye Diamond. He casts Passive Flames goes to 2. Casts Dark Ritual goes to 4. Casts Cabal Ritual goes to 7.
Yeah.
Casts a Probe. Cast Infernal Tutor again, gets Tendrils.
Yeah.
Casts a Probe. That's already enough Storm.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Yep. Deck's great. Now he's got some interesting choices. Oh, looks like he immediately puts 2 copies of Empty the Warrens that he wants to bring in. Chain of Vapor is an interesting one in this matchup. Ooh, he had a Rebuild. Rebuild is great.
Is it possible that Kevin just wants the option to just like turn 1 make 8 goblins?
It is definitely possible. Kyle
Like,
can beat that.
Yeah.
Because of if he boards in something like Deluge, but also just the Thopter Sword combo.
He can also just like leave in like engineered explosives, maybe.
Something
I don't know
like
if he
that.
would want to, but
I don't think he can leave in. Let's see how many copies of Bridge he leaves in. But I mean, either way, he needs to get down to 1 card.
yeah. It seems like Bridge Strix is probably one of the first cards to go. Although he needs to keep his blue card count up for Force.
Yeah, I think Strix is probably a card that needs to stay in some number. I would just cut all my Bridges.
Sure.
It's weird.
Crucible's pretty embarrassing.
Crucible's horrific. Trinisphere is great.
How's Dak faded?
Dak fading? Fine. It's blue.
Yeah, you can take their LED.
Yeah. On the other side of things, I'm not quite sure what Kyle's definitely gonna take out. On the other side of things, Kevin is certainly going to be shaving discard spells. Generally, when you're playing Storm, you want to try and keep a pretty even ratio of the specific elements in your deck. Those elements being mana, filtering, and disruption. And action. I guess action is also there. Like action being, in this instance, the Tutors, Pass and Flames, Ad Nauseam, and Dark Petition. If you're cutting certain aspects of the deck, it should be for the similar aspects. So in particular here, Kevin is looking to shave a lot of discard and look to go pretty high on permanent disruption. So specifically Abrupt Decays, Chain of Vapors. The downside here is that this will leave him pretty heavily exposed to Force of Will.
Sure.
Which is not an ideal spot to be in. I think he's also considering cutting Past in Flames. But again, that makes him worse against Force of Will. I think that might be a concession to Leyline of the Void, which is a very, very common card, and Kyle's got 4 copies of it.
Yeah, I think this matchup is probably pretty terrible for Tezzeret game 1 overall.
Unless you can land a turn 1 Chalice in the play.
Right. So here we see Kyle having 9 or 10 sideboard cards coming in.
Yeah, I mean, he has just so many dirtily crappy cards.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks like, so Kevin has cut all of his discard spells. It makes sense to cut a ton of discard on the draw in particular.
Right.
Because, one, it's extremely likely that these soul land decks
Power out turn 1 Chalice.
It's a really big thing. Like, keeping a hand without something like that is loose.
Yeah.
And your counter spells are either going to be Force of Will or Flusterstorm.
Yeah.
That's the one, but that's like the downside that's facing Kevin here, is that he is going to expose himself to those cards, and there's very little he can do about it besides leave in some discard spells. One thing he can do is not bring in stuff like Chain.
Okay.
And only bring in Abrupt Decay and Rebuild. Rebuild is by far his best card, but because the card is so specific and narrow, you can only ever really play about 1 in your sideboard.
Yeah, maybe 1.
Yeah, it's like that and Hercule's Recall are the cards you sort of see
right.
The most often there. They're sweet. Rebuild in particular has some great art. God, I love this card.
It does have great art.
And the best part is, your opponent doesn't have artifacts, you can just cycle it.
L.A. Williams, thank you for drawing this.
Outrageously good art.
Yeah.
We'll see what Kevin's got here. Ooh, his opener does have Abrupt Decay, and similarly, Kyle's opener does have a Chalice, but no lands. So he's quickly going to ship back. Ooh, Kevin's hand does have 4 lands, but it does have a Brainstorm, so I would be inclined to keep.
Yeah. The fixer of loose keeps.
Oh my God, it's just comical. What a stupid card.
It's pretty dumb.
It's fun. There was a certain point in time where people talked about how that Brainstorm wasn't really the best. It wasn't an outrageously
overrated.
Yeah, it's just it's really not that good. Which is so stupid. Holy crap! It is when you're playing a card that contextually, in most decks it's their best card.
Right.
In Legacy. And in a lot of decks, it's better than Ancestral. Like, that says a lot.
Better or...
Reanimator, it's better.
Okay.
A lot of times in Storm, it can be better. It's just a ridiculous card. Ooh, great start here by Kyle.
Jeez. That is some hateful stuff.
And this is why you bring in Abrupt Decay. And Polluted Delta go. That's what I thought.
Kevin should, in theory, get a decent amount of time to work through.
That's easily the best part of this. I mean, that's the fear of, like, the Helm combo.
Yeah.
Helm combo is really annoying because it actually kills you. See if Kyle has a play here. Nope, just a pass.
No Tezzeret in his hand. It looks like he has a Thopter Foundry and a Transmute Artifact.
And a Mox Diamond.
And no land to accompany it.
But
picks up Force of Will.
Yeah, there's a pretty excellent draw, especially because I think Kevin's going to be particularly soft to it this game. And he even has a blue card to go along with it. Brainstorm is often better than Ancestral and Reanimator. That is
just because you can hide pieces from discard.
Just because you often want cards in your deck and not in your hand.
Oh, fair.
That's the thing that comes up.
Entomb for them.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, it's context. I'm not saying every single time you draw Brainstorm it's better than Ancestral. I'm not going to hyperbolize that much.
Also, in Miracles, Brainstorm is pretty powerful when you can put back...
Oh no, crazy, with Counterbalance.
Yeah. Counterbalance, Terminus.
Yeah. So it looks like Kevin is just content to make his land drops here. I think we're going to see the Abrupt Decay now.
This is on Kyle's end step, I presume?
Yes.
Kyle's still missing on another land here.
So we see a fetch of Swamp and Tropical Island. This is going to be taking down the Chalice, the only legal target. So working out well that he got rid of the... that he boarded out the Past Flames at the moment.
Yeah.
And that's gone.
Makes sense. I think that's why we saw him bring in the...
Chain of Vapor.
Well, also the Empty the Warrens.
Yes.
It just, like, anticipating all this specific hate from this specific matchup and, like, assuming that things like Engineer Explosives would be taken out in all likelihood.
Yeah.
It just makes the coast pretty clear for just making 8 or 10 goblins and hoping that's good enough.
So Kevin's hand is now 7 spells.
Jeez.
2 of them are Infernal Tutor. I think he's just going to cast Ponder this turn. It's really good to get your 1-drops cast while you can.
Yeah, makes sense.
I'm going to go fetch some blue source here. We get an island. We won't comment too much about Kevin's ugly mismatched basics.
Yeah, the swamp seems like the offender
on
this board.
It's pretty loose. It's pretty dang loose.
Yeah. Can't fault that island.
No. It's nice. It's a really nice looking island.
Yeah.
And here's a Ponder. Ooh, that is the exact card you wanted to see.
The Empty the Warrens?
Yes.
Yes.
By like a large amount. So this is the way you fight. This is my favorite way to fight Force of Will and Storm, is to draw your Storm card. Mm-hmm. They can't fight every card in your hand, and eventually you're going to resolve this 4-mana one, and it's going to make a lot of goblins.
Yeah. It's going to make exactly enough. Well, probably more than exactly.
Oh, I think way more than enough. So let's see. I don't believe Kevin will do anything this turn. He does draw the Empty the Warrens instead of hiding it.
He doesn't have... Does he have Lotus Petal here?
Yeah, he has Lotus Petal and 2 Lion's Eye Diamonds. His only red source is that Lotus Petal.
Only having 1 land to start from here, it doesn't seem like it's really safe to try to start up.
No, and Kyle's just like not doing anything.
Yeah, so like what's the rush?
Plus you get to Ponder again this turn, which you know is there. Like he has another Infernal on top of his deck, which he definitely does not want. He does want like a Dark Ritual. Mm-hmm. That would be ideal. We might see him Infernal Tutor for another Petal.
Yeah, it seems like he's kind of low on Ritual. He has double LED, but those don't work. I mean... There's still Storm for Empty the Warrens, but, you know, they're not the mana that you would necessarily want.
Yeah, I mean, it's not mana up front, is what it comes down to. And that's sort of what he's looking for right now. And there's...
Well, there's 2 of them. Is that good enough to keep?
They're the same, by the way. They're both +1 mana
in
this moment. Cabal Ritual's another card that I would have considered shaving some copies of. Just because...
Anticipating graveyard hate.
Yeah, I often like shaving them against decks that are like very likely to have Rest in Peace or stuff like Leyland in the Void.
Yeah.
See what he decides to draw. He does decide to draw Petal. Makes sense, by the way, to draw the Petal instead of the Cabal Ritual. because if your pedal does get forced, you're in a world of pain.
Mm-hmm.
Pedal.
Yeah, I mean, this just lets him start up. Like, this... There's nothing good to force a will here.
Nope, not a single one of these cards.
This is just make...
12 goblins.
Yeah. You can force a will one of them. One of the copies.
And this is a 2-turn clock.
2 turns. Storm looks pretty good.
Oh, goodness.
I mean, we should state again, this matchup is good for Storm.
Oh, absolutely.
Fundamentally. But he has fought through a significant amount of hate in this game.
Or just dodged it by the way he's built
sideboard,
his deck. Yeah, like he has like the 2 Empty the Warrens in your sideboard are for these situations.
Yeah, where Tendrils is just less likely to come off.
Yeah. So Kyle drew another Soul Land, which I believe still doesn't let him cast a single card in his hand.
Good deck building.
Oh, goodness. I think every card in his hand requires... Oh, no. Never mind.
He can pitch it to Mox Diamond.
I'm nuts. He can cast a card.
Tezzeret.
He can also cast Transmute Artifact and get a 2-drop.
Is there anything...
No. For
well,
2? For
no,
2?
Well, does it have to be exactly, or is it 2 or less?
2 or less.
So if he had an Engineered Explosive in his deck...
Yes. If he had Engineered Explosives, that would do it.
Does he have one left?
I'm looking.
Oh, God.
I'm looking at Nova. Oh, he didn't keep going through his deck. That would be pretty nuts.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, that would be his only out.
Yeah, it gets him out of it completely.
Because as it stands, there are no outs we can think of. Well, he's tapping all this mana, so I have to imagine this is Tezzeret.
Okay. So, yeah, it seems like it's just not in the deck.
It'd be pretty funny if Kevin did something like draw Tendrils this turn.
To speed up the clock?
Yeah. Kyle looking at the top 5 of these cards with Tezzeret's plus ability. Not sure what outs he has. See a Chalice of the Void, which is a little late.
Yeah, slightly late to the party.
For those unaware, Chalice on 0 is often... it's like the second best number versus Storm. Sometimes the best, obviously based on prior information.
If you've seen their hand at all. Also, sometimes just being able to do it immediately,
yes,
and not waiting a turn.
If you don't have the second mana immediately, it can be quite good.
Yeah.
I think Kyle is hoping that Kevin attacks Tezzeret. I think that's his out.
You think Kevin will do that?
He can also ultimate Tezzeret next turn for 2 life.
I mean, Kevin could send 4 goblins at Tez, and the other 8 at Houtman.
This Chalice on 0 makes it seem like he's got at least an intention. If anything, I would put 1.
It looks like all of it's going at Houtman.
Put you to 3.
It seems like I mean, unless he has the tendrils, and he hasn't passed back.
He could just bounce it. He could just Chain of Vapor it. It's pretty cute.
Why not?
I would actually be tempted to do so.
Yeah.
I think that's what Kevin's considering here. I mean, he's got these... It's that or just like, this is happening. Boop. He could also just go for tendrils.
Do you think this gets Force Willed?
He could just go for the kill here and make Kyle force a will. Yeah, that's I think what's happening here.
Okay, so he's bouncing LAD, sacking it to also bounce the other LAD. Yeah, so he is going for the kill. But this probably is going to get screwed up by the Force of Will.
Yes. And then he's copying it again, floating a black mana.
Wow, Chain of Vapor.
Chain of Vapor is great.
And now the onus goes back to Houtman here if he wants to bounce. This is the way Chain of Vapor works?
Yep, and I do not believe he does. Sack a land for a goblin.
Yeah.
Seems like a poor trade. So Storm is 1 currently with a black floating. I mean, if he just goes for tendrils, that's lethal. But Kyle will have to force a will.
Mm-hmm.
That will put him off of the Ancient Tomb, though, so it is a Stone Rain, which is worth mentioning.
Yeah, so here we have how much mana floating from Kevin? 2?
1.
1? Okay.
Yeah, he's just going for Infernal Tutor with a reveal. If you're Kyle, I do not think you mind about this. This is weird.
Yeah, so here...
Okay, he's getting another Cabal Ritual.
Does he have any mana floating, though?
Nope.
So...
He's just passing.
Oh, so he's just setting up again?
Yeah, but he doesn't have black mana, so it's...
Yeah, that's a little odd.
Yeah. I don't think Kyle has any outs anyways.
Yeah, I mean, not having answers for the goblins.
But yeah, without black mana, that's a very strange play to me. I think, if anything, you should just go and try and kill him. Because the Infernal Tutor with Lines of Diamonds replayed, he might have forgotten that the Chalice was on 0.
Yeah.
Not to speculate.
Yeah.
But that's something I would do.
Yeah, it does seem like that is what happened there.
In which case, maybe you're supposed to bounce the Chalice. Give it! We don't know. We don't know what happened.
Mistakes possibly were made.
We're not. We don't know. You know.
We really don't know anything.
No. We'll see. Let's see if Kyle was just slow rolling the engineer explosives.
Why, like...
That would be sweet. For
That
no
would be
good
insane.
reason. I think we're just checking to see if we...
Alright. Well... Alright, so he's paying the
2.
extra. He's going to 1. Force of Will is offline.
Lodestone Golem, can't get that one. Baleful Strix can get that one, don't really want to.
No.
Chalice of the Void, Mox Diamond, Sword. Can't get Toxic Deluge. Helm costs 4. We can't afford it. Yep, that's it.
The activation on Helm is...
1. It's X.
But he has to fetch...
Well, no, it also costs 4 mana.
Okay.
Helm itself is an expensive magic card.
Oh yeah, since he sacrificed the Chalice, he would have had to pay extra.
Yeah, so yeah, it's 4 to cast, and then you need to activate it for at least 1.
Okay.
But that's it. Storm taking down Grixis Tezzeret in what we agree to be a favorable matchup for Storm. There are a lot of annoying things the Grixis deck can do.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily super coherent.
Yeah.
And they're all pretty easily disruptible.
Basically all permanent based.
Yeah. The fact that they're like 90% permanent based, you know.
Just Force of Will, maybe some Flusterstorms.
Yes. So it like theoretically puts you in a tough spot, but when you draw Empty the Warrens, things go well. Good things happen, I think, a lot of the time.
Yeah. I mean, I was really impressed by the way Kevin sideboarded there.
Yes. It was pretty bold to, like, basically eschew the possibility of losing.
Having a graveyard.
Yeah, and also just, like, deciding that, you know, if I'm going to lose to Force of Will, I'm going to lose to Force of Will.
And he just made Force of Will. Like, Howman had Force of Will when Kevin went off.
Didn't do anything.
It didn't do anything.
It's also, like, a reason you sometimes see like many copies of Empty the Warrens in the sideboards. Like Kevin had 2. I've seen as many as 3.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Well, just because drawing it is so much better than tutoring for it.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's what lets you fight through a lot of this disruption.
Yeah.
This, like, the Chalice of the Void matchups is a big reason to do it. There are others as well.
Yeah.
But really impressive. Really, really strong showing from Empty the Warrens. A card that I often call I call it a crutch a lot of times, because it's way more fun to win with tendrils.
It is. You look more clever when you don't have to pass the turn back.
Yeah, well, also you look more clever when you actually cast all those spells in your turn.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas, like, Empty, you're just like
cast 5 spells,
8 goblins or whatever.
Hope this is good enough.
Hope it's fine.
Well, that's like ad nauseum the card itself as well, right? You're just like hoping it's good enough.
Look,
hoping it works.
Look, just because it's you got to be like. If you're casting ad nauseum from above 17 life, from 17 or above, you've got to be in extremely high lock to win the game.
Yeah.
That being said, I've lost from that position on multiple occasions. Kevin's lost in that position on multiple occasions. Kyle has. Everyone who's played Storm has had these horrible situations where they cast ad nauseum, where they're rough,
they hit all of their expensive
cards.
The
mid 90s in order to win, and they just hit like Past in Flames, Dark Petition, Tendrils, or something ridiculous like that, and you just like can't win after that point. It's just what the card is. That card's high variance. Like, you're literally flipping cards on the top of your deck at random.
Hauptman, were you regretting boarding out explosives?
I didn't take it out. I
So-
don't have not running one.
Okay.
I brought in a deluge for them.
That's what.
Okay.
All right.
So I did screw up.
How so?
Instead of casting Tezzeret, I should have just transmuted for Helm, but he told me he had the chain in hand anyway.
Okay.
So he would have just chain of vapored that
Yeah.
instead. So
Okay.
it wouldn't have mattered, but I should have done the Helm instead.
Yeah,
Sure.
So.
All right.
Yeah. Storm is.
Did you forget about the chalice on 0?
Okay.
Yeah.
So we have checked with Kevin, and he forgot that there was a chalice. I guess he just had the IRL misclick of you want to bounce the chalice, but you decide to bounce.
Well,
the
he
chalice
already
instead.
got rid of one, and it was gone. But then there was another one.
Showed
It was
up.
on a different mana.
Magically.
And I was like, I don't care about that. So I just like wrote it off.
Perfect. But yeah, Storm looked really good.
It did.
Storm always looks good. This is great.
You want to run down some of the other decks we have in the room?
Sure. Looks like we have 2 lands players today. We have Andrew's version, which is the control lands we saw in the first round, and then we have pretty normal red-green lands from James. We have the Grixis Tezzeret deck. We have 2 Storm decks.
We do.
Um,
yeah, Storm and lands.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah, the other version. So Kevin's version is the more conventional. What I hate has been called Ant, which is a stupid name for a deck that never wants to cast ad nauseum.
Just call it Storm.
Yes, I call it Storm for a reason. Also because the versions of Storm have become more and more homogenous over the years.
Also, it's a cooler word.
Yes, agreed. Ant, shut up. But yes, Nathan electing to play Burning Wish in his deck. I understand the appeal of Burning Wish. I myself have never been interested.
Sure.
It's expensive. Especially with the printing of Dark Petition.
Yeah,
it
you
seems
just have another
not necessary.
tutor. And
and-
Dark Petition, is that just agreed upon now that it's better than Grim Tutor?
Oh, it's 1,000 times better than Grim Tutor. Grim Tutor. Just the fact that like Dark Petition, like they both have amazing utility. That's what makes them so powerful. Is that you could just cast them mid combo, like not like I'm like right at the end of comboing. I have to Infernal Tutor, like crack all these LDs. Like Dark Petition, you just cast.
Yeah.
And it's amazing almost every time. That card's just really impressed me.
Other decks in the room.
What else? Maverick.
Yes, we have not seen Maverick yet. We also have not seen Brandon with Jeskai Stoneblade, nor have we seen Matt borrowing my Death and Taxes deck.
Yeah, last week we watched Connor borrowing your Death and Taxes deck, and he did pretty well with it.
I think he
2-1-1?
went 2-1-1.
Picking up a draw versus land.
Yeah, and his loss was to Maverick.
Yeah. And we watched that loss against Maverick. It was actually Zeke playing the deck.
It was. Who is, yeah.
And then Tone, who I imagined is playing.
He told me he was playing what he played last week.
So Esper Mentor.
Yeah.
He had a pretty sweet kill last week, which involved swordsing his own monk token and then spell piercing it and then swordsing the new monk token.
Yes.
To build up enough prowess.
Enough storm.
Enough storm. Creature storm to kill them.
Dude storm.
Yeah. I'm not calling it that. But yeah, Monastery Mentor is good. I think everyone has really fallen in love with that card. I don't think anyone as much as Patrick Chapin. Hey, David.
Hola, David.
Oh, internet's dead. That
Internet.
stinks.
Is that related to the weather, or...
I think he's down in Florida.
Yeah, right.
Is it hitting Florida?
I think it is. Isn't it the whole eastern seaboard?
Man, I really have no idea.
Maybe I'm making incorrect judgment calls about the weather.
We live in our own like magical Midwestern world where we just assume everything is awful here.
Yeah.
And it never is, except when it is.
Sometimes it is.
Yeah. Yeah, Esper Mentor is a pretty sweet deck. I was so skeptical when I saw the list, like the Painful Truths and everything like that. And I like it.
Yeah.
Was that the first place we saw Painful Truths? Legacy?
I don't know. No.
Did we even see it? I don't think we saw it in... Because, like, the first time we really saw it in Standard was...
Todd Anderson.
No, Michael Majors.
Oh, sure. Right. They're the same person.
And then Phil Silverman. Because I was, like, the first... Because the week he wrote about it, Andrew Beckstrom and I both played it at the 50K.
Mm-hmm.
That one Greg Schaefer top faded. Playing, quote, the best deck in the format.
Yeah. Wait, which was the best deck? My deck.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I knew.
It's only getting better. Oh my god.
Well,
for those unaware, Rally of the Ancestors is the most obnoxious deck in the world.
I would call I would say that the most obnoxious card in the deck. Well, actually,
No,
they're
it's
both
not-
pretty obnoxious.
Reflector Mage is comical.
I think it's very good.
It's obscene.
Jerry T posted a list, I think, that didn't have any, or someone on SCG posted a list that didn't have any, and I couldn't read anymore. most lists I've seen that are updated have at least
two.
copies. I think 3 is probably justified.
Yeah, it's really, really powerful.
If
Rally's
you're
good.
interested in standard.
Yeah. I like standard. I like all formats. What can I say?
I think like specifically Rally is the kind of standard deck that also could appeal to players who typically like Eternal formats more, because it doesn't play like as much like a normal standard deck
Yeah.
where you're just like playing dudes, playing removal spells, and like trying to, just like mash Siege Rhinos into each other.
I think the concept that standard is just people mashing Siege Rhinos into each other is so overblown.
Sure.
Oh my god.
There have been a few decks over the past couple years that have maybe contributed to that stereotype.
Go figure. What people play, it's a good card and people play it. Shocking. It's not like 90%. It's not like anywhere near 30% of a metagame is like
Yeah.
that. It's very little.
There is a skew of like good players maybe choosing it.
I mean, maybe it won a Pro Tour. Won the first
Yeah.
Pro Tour. It was legal. Did it win any other Pro Tours since then? Yeah, it won the last Pro
The
Tour.
most recent, yeah.
It's good.
It is good.
Yeah, standard is extremely expensive. I'm not gonna say anything more than that. But Magic is extremely expensive.
It is.
Magic's an expensive game.
It is.
Let me say.
Rally's kind of a cheap deck. Well,
Really?
it's an investment.
How many fetch lands?
All right, so I can't
How many
say
Jaces?
that counting fetch lands, like, if you're gonna play competitive Magic, you're probably gonna need fetch lands.
I'm just asking a question.
There is a
Greg.
buy-in.
How many?
There's a lot.
There we go. 12? 11.
Evolving Wilds are very cheap.
That is accurate.
They're 15.
Yeah, fantastic. You could buy 2 Underground Seas for the price of a standard deck.
You could.
Plus a Trop. Man, Trops are not expensive. I mean, Trops. I think Trop is really, really good in your Storm sideboard.
Yeah.
Sometimes
Casts
your
a
Storm-
lot of your sideboard cards.
Sometimes your Storm main deck if you're feeling saucy. I can never tell if you're supposed to play 14 or 15 lands in that deck.
I don't know.
That's a
I'll defer to you.
in the Storm community. Well, a lot of people, basically, people go back and forth on 14 and 15 lands. 14 lands is in effect the right number.
Okay.
And people who play 15 lands in their deck often sideboard one out.
Sure.
So the idea being that you have a little bit of main deck insurance against Wasteland. You're sort of freeing up a sideboard slot, and the extra land really doesn't hurt you very much.
Okay.
On the downside, it means that sometimes you draw a Trop in game 1.
And it doesn't cast anything.
No, it's just an island that gets wastelanded.
Okay.
Like that's all it is in game 1.
Yeah.
And that's it's loose.
It's not great.
It's not ideal. So like that's one small deck building thing that comes into Storm a lot. Really, the sideboard is where all the fun stuff is. Like they're like Storm has not changed a lot since the printing of Past in Flames.
Yeah.
Like Past in
Dark
Flames.
Petition.
Yeah, like Dark Petition, like, and the most you'll ever see is 2. It's not like Vintage. Vintage Storm plays 4. 4 Dark Petitions. That's a lot of Dark Petitions.
Storm is like one of the least likely decks to get upgrades from
Yeah.
new sets, right? Just based on like what kind of cards they'd be interested in.
I mean,
and
they're
all.
like so specific because
Right.
like some of the cards that are in there are just never going to get upgraded.
Yeah.
Like they're never going to print
Gonna
anything
make another
better
Dark
than
Ritual?
anything better than Dark Ritual or Cabal Ritual or like Lotus Petal, Lion's Eye Diamond. Like these are cards that are never getting fixed. In any sort
Whereas
of way.
Death and Taxes only getting better.
Yeah, they only print more terrible cheap white creatures.
I really
They haven't
want
stopped.
another good 2-drop. Please, God, something to replace Sarah Avenger.
All I remember with Thalia, I remember like the first time having Thalia played against me in Constructed, and I was playing a deck with Dissipate in it, and I looked at the Dissipate in my hand and looked at the Thalia across the table, and I conceded. That was that.
Yeah,
I looked at the Supreme Verdict in my hand, which all of a sudden cost 5 mana.
sounds great.
Oh, it was the worst.
What? Yeah.
Green,
that
white
sounds-
humans. Green, white humans.
Yeah.
4 Mayor of Averbrook.
That card's vintage playable.
Like all werewolves. It's no hand we're watchkeep.
Yeah.
Werewolf Stompy is a deck that has a close place in my heart just because like you can always be like whatever kind of Stompy you want.
It has the funniest name.
Well, like, yeah, Werewolf Stompy. Well, like, the Werewolf Stompy deck and, like, the Mog Catcher deck are almost exactly the same, except you just sort of decide what interchangeable creatures you want to put in. Like, you have Mog Catcher and Goblin Rabblemaster in one version, and you have Handwear, Watchkeep, and Instigator Gang in the other. It's really not that different. Like, Mog Catcher is maybe a better creature on its own because you can go and get Goblin Rabblemasters with it.
Yeah.
But literally whatever.
Yeah.
Rakdos Pit Dragon and the like showing up. Dragon Stompy. Who cares? They all play Trinisphere. They all play Chalice of the Void. The rest of the cards
ones that actually matter.
Yes,
Yeah.
those are the cards that matter. Yeah, Storm has basically only added, like, since RTR, yeah, Decay was an addition. Beyond that, Dark Petition in some number. Some people still don't play it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Sweet.
The sideboard has shifted. People don't play Massacre anymore, for the most part. They just play Dread Knight. Or Disfigure. Honestly, Disfigure is often just better.
Depends.
It kills Gaddock
Yes.
and Thessalon Canonist,
Yes.
which is a big plus in Disfigure's favor. Downside, not good against Mother of Runes. Jerk. I hate it. The best way to beat Death and Taxes is to Dark Rit and play just like 3 Dread of Knights.
I'd say the best way to beat Death and Taxes is to make me really sad.
Oh, so play Elves.
Yeah.
Elves is great. There's like very few feeling. I haven't seen Elves in a while, which makes me sad. Elves is my my other favorite Legacy deck. There's no better feeling than when you're playing Elves than when your opponent goes any land, Aether Vial. Doesn't matter what the rest of the cards are.
Not really.
Aether Vial is a good matchup.
What about...
Goblins,
Yeah.
great matchup.
Yeah, I guess so.
Somehow better than Death and Taxes.
They don't have Jitte.
No, they don't have Jitte. They don't have Tutor for Jitte. They just have these Pyrokinesises that are embarrassing. They're so bad. Like,
The problem with Elves right now aren't... I mean, the perceived 2 best decks, maybe two most popular decks, are Storm and Miracles,
yeah.
which are... I mean, Miracles is beatable, but it's not like a good matchup. It's certainly not
Nope.
favored, especially game 1.
No, I'd say it's extremely even.
Post board?
Yeah. I don't think
But
any...
game 1, you're a dog, right?
Yeah, but you... What it often comes down to is you just jam.
Yeah, and
Like-
hope they don't have the force. for
Yeah,
your
you
natural
just like
order.
jam a natural order because you're like you have so many
Six.
bad cards in your deck.
Yeah, things aren't getting better.
No. If you're gonna play Legacy Storm, you would sideboard into Countertop. That sounds like you're playing High Tide to me.
It's the what's her name?
Feline Longmore.
Yeah, Feline started doing that, right?
I think it's happened in the past, but she definitely like was notable for doing it.
I guess she's just the most known High Tide player in general.
Yeah, her and maybe like Matthias Hunt.
Once upon a time.
Yeah, I mean the problem is just that High Tide's not a playable deck right now.
Yeah.
Like they're just way
That deck needs some help.
deck.
Very unlikely to get help.
How do you beat someone who packs like multiple Pyroblasts?
Nope.
I just don't know.
Nope.
Yeah. High Tide, really what it comes down to is that it's a bad Storm deck.
Yeah.
Today. Like,
Not having proactive discard and relying just on
the stack.
yeah.
You like, almost never brick. Like, a lot of times people talk about, like, the issues with, like, like, Feline's, like, the only one who plays the deck. Like, the issues with the deck being, like, you cast Time Spiral and you just, like, draw 7 bricks and don't go off. That's, like, very rare.
Yeah.
I'd say that's as common as Ad Nauseam killing you.
Sure.
These things just don't happen very often in the deck. But what the issues are just that I don't think
They're
you
better similar decks.
Yeah, and you're just like too slow.
Yeah.
And your only way to protect yourself is Force of Will.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of Storm's best matchups are things like lands.
Oh,
like,
yes.
Yeah, right? Just decks where, like, turn 1 kill is great. Like, unbeatable, basically.
Yeah, like the Green Light.
Yeah.
Go for it. Elves is a great matchup.
Yeah.
Goblins is a great matchup. All these decks. Like,
Whereas for High Tide, you give them way more turns to do something that matters.
yeah, like you could die to it's unlikely, but you could just like die to a 20/20 before you do anything.
Yeah.
Or you wipe away it.
That sounds kind of worth it.
It does.
to wait for that.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, it's in
Oh,
there,
man.
I guess. Cunning Wish.
Yeah.
Or you just preemptively go and get the wipe away. You just like Cunning Wish on turn 3 and you get the wipe away, just hold it there. Also, you have all basics in your deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, like you have a much worse matchup against like discard,
Mm-hmm.
because you just like need to resolve so many cards, so many specific cards to
Right.
win. Time Sprawl is definitely one of them.
It catches you back up.
Like that's like your only way of catching up.
Yeah.
I miss. Okay, no, I don't miss Dig Through Time being legal. But when Dig Through Time was legal, you could actually play Reset Tide. That was pretty fun.
You could.
Reset's a sweet one. I like Reset.
Do you?
It's a cool card and it's got goofy art.
It does have great art.
Is that no? It looks like Harold McNeil art. All the cards from this era look like Harold McNeil drew them, even though that style is not at all Harold McNeil. It's more comical. I'll excuse myself.
Things that Phil wants.
But the fact, like, yeah, classic neo-Nazi just doing more Magic art. Sorry for those unaware, Harold McNeil, neo-Nazi.
Oh, that's sad.
He's the guy who did this art.
Let's see. Ooh. Well, I don't see how those two topics connect. This art and yeah, I'm not seeing it.
Not seeing it. Anyways, Reset. Yeah, Reset was sweet. Can someone remind me what Solidarity is? Because I have no clue.
It's a weird reference to something about it's the Reset High Tide deck.
It's Reset Tide? Okay.
Yeah. It's
Why'd they
called
call it
Solidarity.
Solidarity?
I forget why.
It's one of those names?
I think I read an explanation once in the source.
That
and
sounds like what you
immediately
have to read.
forgot it because it's not particularly useful information, especially because I never played the deck personally.
Yeah. Dredge is like for instance, like Storm and Dredge is a very even matchup. It's like mostly dependent on it is just instant speed reset. Okay, never mind. Dredge and Storm is like an even matchup because you're both really fast and you both have good interaction.
Mm-hmm.
But like High Tide versus Dredge, like Dredge is very favored unless like there are good cards. Like Cunning Wish for Rav Trap is a beating. But beyond that, like Cabal Therapy is just nuts.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's a good card.
And you can't even kill your own guys because you don't have any guys. Can't even slow them down, get their bridges going. I guess you can wish for Surgical if you're playing it.
Sounds great.
Does it?
Mm.
But yeah, when Dig Through Time was legal, Reset Tide was, I think, or Solidarity as it was called, was a lot more viable because you had Dig Through Time.
Yeah.
One of the goofier options for that deck, for the format at the time. I do not miss it.
Yeah.
Dig
Through Time?
Yeah.
How about Treasure Cruise?
Nope, don't miss it.
Can't say I miss either.
Played in a Grand Prix when Treasure Cruise was legal. So did you.
I did.
Did you make Day 2, Greg?
I did not.
Me neither. How many decks of Treasure Cruise did you lose to?
Maybe only one.
And 1, 2. Two of my 3 losses.
Yeah.
I lost to my other loss was to Merfolk, which was my most embarrassing loss of the day. When I probed my opponent and he had Wasteland Cavern out and he had Daze in hand and 3 Merfolk.
Okay.
I lost because his next draw was Chalice of the Void.
That sounds great.
It was so bad. I was so embarrassed. I didn't Board in Decay. I had won game 1 because he had a similarly terrible draw. It was actually a guy from Europe who was a really nice guy, but yeah, I couldn't believe I lost that game. You missed Cruz because you crushed Delvers. I mean, look, Cruz was horrible, just horrible.
Pretty stupid card.
Yeah, inane, like just a idiotic card.
Mm-hmm.
5 blue-red Delver decks. Jesus Christ. Yeah, like, Dredge was supposed to be a bad matchup, and it didn't matter because Monastery Swiftspear.
Yeah. I mean, the nut draws with Blue Red Delver were just basically unbeatable for almost every deck.
Every deck. In all formats.
Yeah.
Yeah, blue-red Delver was just insane.
Yeah. That was one of my few wins in that tournament. I only played against it once. I lost to Black-White Blade twice. I got Zealous Persecutioned a lot.
I played against
not a good trip.
Yeah. I played against Blue Red Delver twice and split my match against it.
What did you play in that tournament? Storm?
Yep.
Okay.
I lost to Blue Red Delver once. I lost to Bug Delver. Just like it was like click into 2 straight discard spells when I was each 1 card away from like winning. It was so bad.
That's why you play Storm.
But yeah, Dig was so good. Dig was so miserable. Ugh. They were both ridiculously huge mistakes. The only reason Dig wasn't oppressive immediately was because of how Oppressive Treasure Cruise was. Although, friend of mine got 9th at the Grand Prix with 4 dig through times with Omni Show. It was like the first. I think he was the first.
It flew under the radar.
Yeah, because
his finish.
Because he got 9.
Yeah.
You should ask him about it. He loves talking about getting 9th at a Grand Prix.
I would
Like
imagine.
everyone who gets 9th at a Grand Prix, they love talking about it.
Who wouldn't?
Yeah, makes them feel really good. But he ran off 7-2 day 1 and just 6-0 day 2.
Yeah.
And
didn't make it.
yeah, it's just like he said he said he just like breezed through day 2.
Yeah.
A lot of defense grids.
Sure.
Defense gridding Miracles players horribly. And that, man, Omnitel was also just broken.
Yeah.
Broken in half.
Deck was pretty silly.
Yeah, Omnitel was
That
thinking about this format was just makes me sad.
Yeah, it's a lot better now.
Yeah.
No one picked up on that.
None of these legal.
I'm getting crap in the chat for calling it Black White Blade.
Black White Play. Dead Guy Ale?
Yeah.
It's Dead Guy.
What a great name.
Yeah, that makes no
For
sense
a
either.
horrible deck.
I remember when that deck was good, probably when I first started following Legacy. Probably
my
the
God.
same time, like, I mean, as Legacy has become more popular, people have gravitated more to better decks. So these fringe decks have been pushed out a little bit
I will
more.
never beat that deck.
What?
Personally, I will never beat that deck.
Dead Guy Ale?
Yeah.
Good.
Anytime. I always get far ahead, then they Zealous
Zealous
Persecution,
Persecution!
and I lose.
The last time I played against that deck, I was playing Elves. And I got Zealous Persecution.
And still won.
Yes, of
Because you
course.
have creatures with 2 toughness.
It's great.
Oh, it's a very powerful ability, having toughness.
Gibbous, you're just making up names at this point. None of those are real. Those are all just like random series of words.
Parfait is a real thing.
What is it?
It's a red-white prison deck. I think.
It's like how Strawberry Shortcake was the red-white painter
It's
deck.
not, yeah, well, it's not painter. It's like...
Red-white prison? Was it a boom
Or is
bust
it,
deck?
maybe it's mono-white, like... Oh, I don't even know what it does. I think there are a lot of artifacts and enchantments in it.
Wow. Quinn the Eskimo sounds sadly familiar.
They're all prison
Oh,
decks.
God. Why do they have such
Quinn the
stupid
Eskimo.
names?
I've never heard of that.
Quinn the Eskimo. Like, are you kidding me?
I don't think I've ever heard of Weapon X either. This is going a little deep.
Yeah. There are no Robopod players tonight. There are no pod players tonight. No one has registered Birthing Pod because no one wants to give us great entertainment.
Also, we didn't have to register decks.
Oh, yeah, that too. No one has shown up with Birthing Pod.
Okay.
Dream Halls. Oh, God, yeah.
Jeez. Oh, something we should call out. You might have noticed in the corner of the screen here, there's a reference to a modern 2K that CardMarket is going to be hosting Saturday, so 2 days from now. And it's going to be one of the first, I don't want to say major, but like larger. It's going to be 80 people for a new modern tournament, new banned and restricted lists, so no Splinter Twin, no Summer Bloom.
Yeah, it's the first format. It's the first tournament you're going to see where Oath of the Gatewatch is legal.
Yeah.
So
we're going to see Thought Not Seer.
I have to imagine someone's got to show up with that deck. That
I
deck
think a
seems-
lot of people are going to play it.
It's
from
so
what I've heard.
obvious.
Everyone's trying to get the cards for it.
Good.
Yeah.
Get your Reality Smashers, get your Thought Not Seers, and get us entertainment.
Smash some face.
Yeah, Reality Smash some face.
Yeah.
But we're going to be having this tournament on this Saturday. Starts at 11 a.m. Stream probably going live a little bit earlier than that.
Yeah, this is like a new thing for us. We've never streamed on a weekend before.
Nope.
And we've never streamed. I mean, this is 80 player capped. I mean, 7 rounds of Swiss.
Let's stop it.
So 10 rounds.
Yep. And we're locked in.
So if anyone wants to see some crazy people around 8 p.m. on Saturday, tune into the stream. Phil and I will hopefully have some remnants of our sanity.
I think the best representation for how it's going to be is this. This is going to be us at the end of the day.
Who do you think will be closer to their wits' end?
You. It's because you're a baby and you're always tired.
Will you be past your wits' end?
I've never been before my wits' end. I live at my wits' end. I have a timeshare at my wits' end.
Yeah, I guess it also implies that you have wit to end.
Exactly.
Okay.
So this is Thoughts Not Serious for anyone mentioning. How is it already $15?
Wow.
Doubled in price, right?
for a rare.
Isn't it 7? Okay, look, it's going to go down. This is
It
release
is,
weekend.
Yeah, you're right.
It should, as more product is open.
In theory.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't think it's going to be dominant in standard by any means.
I think it'll be good.
It certainly will. It seems like it will be played.
I want to play it in standard.
Sure.
It seems extremely good.
But it doesn't seem like standard would be the main factor driving its price this high.
Yeah, I mean, Ayavugan and Eldrazi Temple are
Yeah.
the reason this card is expensive.
Right.
And the reason this card is so tantalizing to people. It was 12. Okay, it was pre-ordering for 8 or 7.
Okay.
During the Sunday for this? Okay, sure. But yeah, so it is a 4/4 for 3 and a wingding.
Oh wait, can't we do that thing in the chat? Maybe we can't.
Okay, hold on. I have to look this up.
We're using some new tools in the chat, and I think we have the functionality to insert card text into the chat directly, actually. And we are currently trying to see if this will work. The dash is... Yeah, okay.
Boom!
Boom! It worked!
By the way, guys, we have MTG bot now.
Yeah.
All viewers, yeah. So if you wanted to look it up, just so you do. Look, that's what it costs. I'm just saying what it costs. But yeah, enters the battlefield. Your opponent, you get to exile a card from your opponent's hand, a non-land card. And when it leaves the battlefield, they draw a card.
Oh my god.
Everyone knows all the commands except us. I was not aware that Catfax was a function of MTG. That's fantastic. What do we have pairings? Who's 2-0?
Kevin.
And?
How's
Nathan.
how's Barbucio doing?
I'm not going to watch the Storm here. Yeah, how is Matt doing?
Well, he 1-1. He won last round against Silgato.
Okay. What about Zeke?
He just lost the lands. He lost the Bowman.
Okay, so he's 1-1.
Do you want to go look at the pairings?
Oh, Bowman's 2-0 then. Let's... I think...
Do you want to see Maverick?
I like Maverick or Jeskai Stoneblade.
Silgato has to buy it too.
Oh, he's the buy? Never mind.
Alright, so not that. So whoever Zeke's playing?
Yeah, unless
It's someone that we already saw. Do you want me to pop out and check? Or?
What? I'll go.
Alright.
You man the station.
Look
up some cat facts.
Yeah, well, I'll read out what cat facts have already been displayed. Oh boy, man, MTG bot is it's something. Yeah, David Beyer, Thought Not Seer. It's very pushed. Having elements of, it's been compared to Vendilion Click. Also has been compared to Mesmeric Fiend, having that sort of effect. But it's sort of more similar to Vendilion Click in the sense that they're not going to get that exact card back at any point necessarily. Also, just having 4 toughness and 4 casting costs, dodging Abrupt Decay and Lightning Bolt just puts it really in a pretty insane sweet spot. And with the Eldrazi lands that you have access to in Modern, it's not consistently going to come out on turn 2, but it's going to happen a decent amount of the time, which seems pretty darn powerful. How are you doing, Tony?
I'm 1-1.
What was your loss?
To your deck.
Nice.
I had like 12 lands in play in game 3. It was really bad.
Okay. Sounds like good deck building by me. Yeah, so Matt Barbucio borrowed my Death and Taxes deck about 2 minutes before this tournament started, so he is currently 1-1. Just running over some of the other players we had. So we have an Esper Mentor deck, a Maverick deck. Ooh, Dark Day 2003, thank you for following. Also, let me call out... Ooh, we got a bunch of follows, actually. I hope these people are all still in the chat. I want to make sure that they get called out. So earlier we had Wylan follow, McColgan928, thank you for the follow. Campy McGarnagle, sorry, hard to say. Nettle Sentinel and Dark Day, thank you guys for also following. yeah, we're still ramping up our stream, and we're trying to expand not only the nights that we stream, but we're also trying to branch out into weekend streams, which this Saturday is the first one that we're doing. Hopefully that goes well. Star City is going to be live at the same time as us, but they're doing standard, we're doing modern. So if you want to see some variety in the format, please join us Saturday.
We had an interesting question. I don't know how to start these stupid things.
We're checking how to make a straw poll in the chat.
Straw poll. That's too much work. I'm
We'll
not doing it.
Figure it out later. What would you have been asking?
Is how good is Storm Chaser Mage good in modern? Going to be good in modern? That's my question.
In like Grixis Delver?
In general. Like, I mean, we don't have to say, like, in what specifically, because, frankly, we don't really know.
Yeah.
But, yeah, like, is Storm Chaser Mage going to be playable in Modern? Like, are we going to see it? Is it going to, like, find itself in a deck? Like, the obvious spot would be blue-red, like a blue-red Delver shell.
Like a burn-heavy blue-red Delver shell. Because the thing about these prowess creatures, you want to be main-phasing spells, not playing reactively with a bunch of counter spells.
Yeah, cantrips are, like, the name of the game there. Like, Pyromancer is a really good reactive card, but, yeah, the Storm Chaser Mage and Monastery Swift Spear are more about casting spells on your turn. Maybe it lends you more to an Abbott-style deck, in which case, that's standard deck.
Yeah, I mean, maybe you want to just, like, put Lava Spike in your Delver deck then or something. I don't know.
Burst Lightning.
Sure. I mean, oh, nice.
Oh yeah, we got some decks that Greg likes because they have Mother of Runes.
We saw this matchup last week. Same cards being used.
Same exact cards.
One
yes.
different player.
Yes.
Last week we had Connor Salinas borrowing Death and Taxes from yours truly. This week is Matt Barbuccio.
Yeah. Sweet. Turns out everyone gets to play your Death and Taxes deck but you.
Yeah.
Are there any playable Cataclysm, Armageddon, Upheaval effects in Modern? No. Not really. The closest thing is, like, Boom Bust?
Yeah, definitely.
I guess? I don't even know.
I think that sounds correct.
But
But yeah, they've really kept mass land destruction out of the format.
shocker.
So it looks like Matt here is on a mulligan to 6, and he is scrying.
So he's keeping. Sees a hand with Wasteland and Revoker and Vial. So it seems like a pretty... And Plains. Yeah, seems great.
Trying out a new Plains art.
It's strictly better.
Ice Age. Phil's a fan of the Ice Age arts.
I am. All right, Zeke starting things off with a Horizon Canopy and a Deathrite Shaman. Matt ticks his Vial up to 1. Draws a card for turn. Let's see if that's the card he tops. I believe it was a second copy of Basic Plains.
Pretty good card in this matchup. Both decks being Wasteland decks.
And he gets to immediately Phyrexian Revoker Deathrite Shaman, which is a pretty great start for him.
Seems solid. Revoker is a pretty valuable tool in the matchup.
Yeah. Revoker, as you've stated in the past, is probably their best card in the matchup.
It's a card that's often criticized, because it looks so innocuous.
Yeah, innocuous is the word I would use. Not terrible.
In these matchups that are defined by permanence on the board, though, it can just play such a unique, vital role, and is just so flexible.
Mm-hmm. All right, so Zeke casting Green Sun Zenith for 1 here. Figure this is going to go get a Noble Hierarch. I think there's like 1 copy in the deck. 1, maybe 2 copies. I'm not certain. But works out perfectly. 5th mana elf, especially versus exactly the start of Phyrexian Revoker. Maverick deck is pretty mana hungry, especially if he wants to ever use that Wasteland. Now it's up to Matt if he actually... Matt does have a Wasteland in his hand. It's up to him if he wants to just go after that Horizon Canopy right away. Giving mana for Deathrite Shaman is not relevant.
I think there's a pretty good chance that we do see Matt.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, I mean, so he's cutting off mana. Yeah, this seems fantastic. And this is where... So I've talked about Aether Vial playing a really pivotal role in this matchup before. This is demonstrating its power.
Yeah, absolutely.
Obviously, Zeke hitting a land here lets him play on.
But it's, I mean, no, it's a single-colored land.
Yeah.
And it's still Wastelandable.
It doesn't look like he has access to green or black mana currently.
Yeah. And now, Matt, thinking about this Vial, see if he wants to go up to 3. I think the rule is generally Yes. 3 is the best spot for it. There are more 2s than 3s in the deck.
I think it really comes down to analyzing your hand and what the payoff cards, like what the payoff draws are. If you see in your hand that you have a plan for your turn, even if you tick up Vial to 3 and whiff, that actually cannot be cast because of Thalia.
Yep. Okay, he got it. He had the land.
Yeah, he did.
Like he just played the land post combo. But yeah, that is a real thing. Jin, excessive use of caps. Calm yourself down. Yeah. So we see an end step. Matt empties his hands. His hand vials in. It goes activate vial on 2.
Yeah, so it can be responded to.
And it will be with the swords to plowshares.
This is something to be very careful of when you are using Vial. You want to pause. You don't want to, spill what you have.
Right now, Zeke basically deciding which Phyrexian Revoker he wants to go after.
Yeah, it looks like the one going after Deathrite Shaman.
Which makes sense. That's the more powerful card. And the gain Matt 2 life, and now he's got his own Thalia. The old Thalia mirror, but one player has Caracas.
Yeah.
Although the other player has Vial.
Right. So, can Caracas actually be used for protecting Thalia all the time, or is it going to have to just be used for mana?
The answer
Matt is empty-handed, though, here.
Yeah. I'm not sure.
I mean, here, you're pretty free to put Jitte on Thalia just because, Zeke has to trade, and then Jitte gets counters, you can kill Deathrite Shaman.
Yeah, that seems really good.
Thalia, yeah. If he doesn't do that, then you just kill Deathrite Shaman for free and Thalia lives.
Yep. All right, so first strike damage happens. They trade. 2 counters.
I think we'll see him just immediately kill Deathrite.
Yeah, it's either kill Deathrite. Yeah, I think it's got to be kill Deathrite.
Yeah. You still have Revoker for Noble Hierarch.
Oh, and he gets to equip. Yeah, this is very good.
Man, those planes look so good.
Don't they? Ooh, Zeke drawing the land. I think he has Kasali Pride Mage in his hand. Zeke plays a lot of Kasali Pride Mage in his deck. I think he plays 3. Card's great.
Yeah.
It is quite powerful. Zeke fetching up a Bayou here. At this point, really no way for him to play around Wasteland. And again, man needs to draw a lot of cards for that to be good. Let's see if he goes after Revoker.
Wow.
And plays another Deathrite.
Wow. It's just because he thinks that
he has a green Sense Zenith in his hand, so he can always go after the GT later if he needs to.
Sure.
So now we are in a state where Zeke is heavily favored.
Yeah.
All right.
The fact that
Wasteland.
Zeke was just able to draw enough lands to get out of this denial has just really crippled Matt here.
Mm-hmm.
There are some draws left in the deck that do catch Matt back up, namely Mirran Crusader.
Yes. Mirran Crusader would be a pretty good draw.
Indeed.
But man, Night of the Reliquary is already pretty big. As Revoker, interested to know what this names. I think it's Deathrite Shaman. You don't really need to name Knight because there's no plains or forest.
Mm-hmm.
And Zeke has to draw one of those for it to do anything. Although he really need to draw a flyer there.
Yeah.
To actually start getting through here. Green Sun Zenith for 2. This is assuredly getting another Kasali Pride Mage.
Seems likely.
Announcing it for 2.
So maybe Night of the Reliquary was named. Because if he's doing it for 2...
That would imply that he could use the Deathrite for mana.
Yeah, but I don't think he has another land, but yeah.
Yeah, it was in name.
Alright, so name Night, yeah.
So using the... Oh, he's going to do it now. And goes right for the Revoker. He's just going to kill every creature that Matt plays if he can.
Yeah.
Zeke is sort of the beatdown. Zeke is actually, assigning roles in this matchup is really tough. Zeke has better removal by far.
Yes. That was an attack for 5, it looks like.
1, 2, 3. Yep. Big night already.
So yeah, I think the best draws here are Flyers,
Yeah,
but
not
Caracas
just
not
drawing.
so much.
Yeah, I mean, like Matt Mulligan, Zeke has not really drawn that many lands, and he's just basically drawn out of like any sort of mana denial that Matt has put him through.
Yeah, Matt just really hasn't drawn enough meat this
Nope.
game. A lot of planes.
He drew 3 Revokers and many planes.
Yes.
So no.
No Mother of Runes, no Plows.
Seagate Wreckage sounds sweet. Are you going to add Seagate Wreckage to your deck?
I was thinking about it. It looks like it would be good at the moment.
Oh, it'd certainly be good at this board. If one of these planes was Seagate Wreckage, well, no. You would
Yeah.
need one of these planes to be Seagate Wreckage and also a colorless mana.
Yeah.
I think it would only be good right now if you had another colorless land. Because honestly, it's weird. Because like the fact that you also need colorless mana to activate it. Sorry, you need Wingdings to activate it.
Yeah, just the fact that you usually want to be using your Rich Imports to do other things, and you want your Wastelands to be doing other things, it doesn't seem like it's quite the right fit. Whereas maybe like in Mud, it could see some use there.
Possibly. Looks like Matt just drew the 4th Revoker
Yeah.
and conceded.
And shows them to us. Yeah.
I think he drew the 3rd.
Yep, there's
Nope,
the fourth.
nope, all 4. Just drew all 4 Revokers. Which, as we said, is not a bad card in this matchup at all, but you need something else. You really need Flyers.
Yes.
Flyers are really good in the matchup.
If he had had any amount of Flicker Wisps there when he had Vial on 3, maybe he could have saved Revokers, could have done some more things, but basic Plains doesn't really cut it by itself.
Yeah. But I'm going to go to game 2 here, see what Matt has to bring to the table. Hey, what's in your sideboard, Greg?
Okay. Sideboard, I think, are 3 copies of Ethersworn Canis, 3 copies of Rest in Peace, 2 copies of...
3 copies of Rest in Peace? Is that what you
Yeah,
said?
I've gone up to 3.
Good lord.
It's a good card.
It is a good card.
2 copies of Cataclysm, 2 copies of Wiltleaf Liege. What else? 1 Sunlance. One Pithing Needle. There's a couple other things that I'm forgetting at the moment.
Hey, chat, guess what I convinced Greg to play over Sunlance? You'll never guess. I'll just tell you. It's this one.
Oh, yeah. Well, I didn't get to do that yet.
Yes, this is not legal yet, but this is a card that I have convinced Greg
Is
to play.
Yeah, it probably isn't that, actually.
It seems great.
I don't know.
Do you want me to convince you again?
Yeah, try.
Okay, cool. Warping Will. Why is it good? Here's why. It is an actual counterspell in your mono white deck against problematic things that you'll have trouble beating. Examples: Terminus, Show and Tell, Glimpse of Nature, Natural Order, Entreat the Angels, Thoughtseize, I guess, Hymn to Torak, Ancestral
Yeah.
Visions.
My concerns are... So, against elves, I can see it.
Hold on, wait.
Yeah.
That's just part 1.
Okay, sorry.
Part 2
Make your full argument. Then
is
I'll
it
respond.
kills Delver. It
Well,
kills
sometimes.
It mostly kills Delver. It kills Deathrite Shaman. It kills Mother of Runes always.
It's kind of hard to cast.